It's 2 days to the neck called by the Lamidi Akpakpa-led faction of the Labour Party. The National Executive Council meeting is expected to hold in Bauchi State, but in a swift reaction, the Julius Abure-led executives are kicking against this, calling it illegal. Well, there's a lot to cover in this, as the issues actually date back to last year's primaries and several court processes afterwards. What is going on in the camp of the party that shocked a lot of political scientists and bookmakers? Well, we're joined on the program by Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, who's a lawyer and spokesperson of the Labour Party Obidati Presidential Campaign Council, joins us live from our Abuja studio. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Yeah, good evening for having me, and good evening, viewers joining us.
Right. For a lot of people, this is the first time they're seeing you after that episode, because a lot of your party's supporters were unhappy at your seeming admittance that that leaked audio was indeed Mr. Obi's voice, and Mr. Obi and the party, of course, released a statement later describing it as fake and doctored. And for a lot of people, they were wondering what exactly played out in that episode.
Well, as you can see, we just have about 10 minutes left. If you can proceed to the issue of the party, because there's no more time. At a very comfortable time next time, we'll address that issue.
Okay.
It is still, you know, you don't give relevance to a tape that has no author. That tape has no author.
No, I'm talking about the statement.
Value and is useless.
Right. I'm talking about the statement that you put out, Mr. Okonkwo. Yes. Oh, by the way, we actually scheduled more time, but I mean, we wish you had arrived earlier, so we'll have more time on this conversation. But I'm talking about the statement you released. What exactly was it that there was no approval from the party? For a lot of people, this is the first time they're actually hearing you speak after that. So just to clear the air, essentially, that's the point.
Well, like I said, I am here to talk about the Labour Party, and we don't have time. We will have time for that, and we will clear the air, because there is nothing you can say about a useless tape that has no author. That tape has no author, so it is useless, and it's not worth saying anything about it. You don't deny or confirm anything about a useless tape. I simply said there is nothing in that tape that needs anybody to deny or to confirm. I have no business denying or confirming a useless tape. If we can proceed.
So essentially you're saying that you did not confirm that, even though you said our attention has been drawn to the publication of this audio tape of a private conversation between Peter Obi and Bishop Oyedepo. So you're saying that you didn't mean to confirm that by using those words, essentially. I
said the tape is not worthy of confirming or denying, because there's nothing in that tape whatsoever. That is what I said. So it does not need my attention. It has no author, so it has no probative value in law. It is as useless as people saying there is anything in the tape. But I'm here to talk about the party, and if we may proceed, because there's no more time left.
All right, Mr. Okonkwo, it's okay. You actually gave it your attention just to get you to speak to it. But let's talk about the leadership situation within your party, the Labour Party. Oh, by the way, that's the tweet you put out regarding that particular audio tape. So you actually spoke to it, just for reference for our viewers. But let's talk about the leadership situation. ENEC has been called for Wednesday by the Lamidi Akpakpa faction. So let's take a step back and get the benefit of your legal background to understand the court's ruling, one from Abuja, the other from Benin. What is the difference? Because a lot of people are saying there are courts of coordinate jurisdiction. The one in Benin trumps the one in Abuja, or the one in Abuja trumps the one in Benin. You're a legal practitioner, so you have at least better understanding. What is the difference?
Yeah. First of all, it's an insult to common sense to be calling Lamidi Akpakpa's political gerrymandering, to be calling them a faction in Labour Party. Please, they are political clowns, not worthy to be mentioned with regard to Labour Party. They are politicians of convenience.
Mr. Okonkwo, I'd like us to measure our words. Mr. Okonkwo, please, let's measure the words and speak to the issues. I mean, describing someone as a clown.
Good.
It might insult their sensibility. So let's speak to the issues, since they're not here to defend themselves.
That's what I'm saying. They are politicians of convenience and politicians of fortune. They are not politicians of conviction. They are not politicians of fortitude. I'm here to tell you that you should not ever call them a faction of Labour Party. There is no crisis in Labour Party. And I refer you to the Labour Party Constitution. Article 13, 1B, IV, says it is only the National Convention that can elect or remove the national officers. And then Article 13, 2B, XVI and XVII. He said it is only the NEC that can replace the vacancy in any national office, and it is only the NEC that can discipline any national officer. So please, these people you're calling that they are a faction of Labour Party, who brought them in as leaders of the national, as the national officers of Labour Party? Please, they are not in any way any Labour Party national officers. Having said that, you rightly pointed out that there were two orders of courts of coordinate jurisdiction. One from Edo, where the main issue started from, and which the Supreme Court has settled in Suleiman and APC. And I'm talking about 2023, 5 NWLR, and I'm talking about Part 1877. The Supreme Court made it clear that it is only the courts from where the cause of action arose that has jurisdiction to talk about any issue. And that court is located in Edo State. And the court has given an order restraining anybody from restraining the national officers of Labour Party from doing their duties. So the ex parte order by the courts in the Federal Capital Territory, which lacks jurisdiction to entertain it, is null and void.
All right, Mr. Okonkwo, for the benefit of our viewers, let us show that court,
yes,
the court ruling from Benin City first, and see who the court was speaking to and what the court asked for. If we just pull that up, the court. So that's what the court said, the final ruling from the Benin City High Court, saying that I hereby make an order of interim injunction restraining the first and second defendants. By the way, the first and second defendants in this case, the Ward 3 chairman, that's Thompson Ehigwese and Lucky Shoaibu, essentially. Those are the first and second defendants, and those are the ones that the judge was speaking to. So it says, from submitting and or transmitting the purported notice of suspension signed by Ward 3 executive of Labour Party to the third defendant for deliberation. The third defendant is Labour Party. So when you say that the court in Benin restricts even the national officers, at what point or which part of this order does that reflect, or is that reflected, rather?
No. I said the courts in the Federal Capital Territory is the one that restrained or purportedly restrained the national officers from acting. The court in Benin City restrained the defendants, that's those people who purportedly suspended the national officers, from doing anything with that illegal suspension. Meaning
this is Mr. Okonkwo, pardon me. Please, let's go through the Abuja one now, just so we know, because the Abuja case does not refer to the ward at all. In fact, you can see the defendants, Mr. Abure and others. And the order from the court, if we just go to the lower part, essentially says that the first to the fourth defendant, that from Mr. Abure to Mr. Ojukwu, that their agents, previous servants, employees, and representatives whatsoever described are actually restricted from or restrained from parading themselves as national chairman, national secretary, and all. And then he goes on to say an order is granted abridging the time. So it does not speak to the ward, which the case in Benin is about. So to that extent, aren't they different?
Good. That is why I'm telling you. That is why that order is flawed completely. Having read that order, what have you made out of that order? Nothing. The order is flawed. First of all,
are you describing the order of a court as flawed? That's the order of a court.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You have the right to criticize the ruling of a court. That ruling ought not to have been in the first place. By the law, the law says it clearly. You cannot use ex parte order. You cannot use it to affect the interest of an adverse party that you have not heard from. What that order did, ex parte order is meant to be a shield to to protect a claimant from irreparable damage that will occur to him before the other party is heard, you cannot use ex parte motion and ex parte order to affect the interest of another party that you have not heard from. That is against the Constitution, Section 36, Section 1, and Section 36, subsection 5. You cannot affect the rights of any Nigerian without first of all hearing from him. That is against natural justice, equity, and good conscience.
Right, Mr. Okonkwo, as we wind down,
the Supreme Court has already condemned.
Right. So is that why Mr. Abure is remaining as the national chairman in disobedience of that court order? So he would rather disobey the court order rather than go to court to withdraw that order?
Oh, sorry. Mr. Abure and Labour Party is a law-abiding party, despite the fact that that order is completely flawed because it is an abuse of ex parte order. So the Labour Party, Abure, is restrained. He's not doing anything now. Pending the determination, the court is going to rule on jurisdiction.
But the one from Benin City, isn't it an ex parte order as well? The one from Benin City is also an ex parte order. So what's different?
No, like I said, you use the ex parte order to restrain people from doing damage to your rights. That is what Julius Abure did in the Benin High Court that has jurisdiction over it. But the Abuja High Court, they used ex parte order to behead a human being in Nigeria. A political party is a human being recognized by law.
Well, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo,
an ex parte order.
I mean, you're a legal practitioner, so I imagine that you, at least you hold the courts in high esteem, but we're totally out of time. We wish we had more time for this. But we'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, who is a lawyer and spokesperson, Labour Party Obidati Presidential Campaign Council. He's also a columnist, by the way. Thank you so much for your time.